Hey folks, GDP here. Once again, just trying to save you a little bit of money, trying to come to you and tell you that the best wines are not always the best wines for every time. Today, what am I talking about today? I'm talking about red blends. I just got through tasting through a case of red blends. What are red blends? Well, for me, they're pretty much wines that don't fit with anything else. In reality, what they seem to be divided roughly into two sections. One are Cabernet-based red wines. The other one are Zinfandel-based red wines. And there's lots of other stuff in there, Syrah and Grenache, and all sorts of crazy stuff gets dumped in there. So let's kick off today with the little Brancaia Tre, which is a Sangiovese Cabernet Merlot blend, obviously from Italy. This is the 2010, obviously from the label. This was the lightest blend today. I had mostly from California. I had this, something from South Africa, and had one other Chilean wine and an Argentine wine in the case today, but this is one of the two imports that made it to the final cut. So what's the deal with this wine? It's a lot lighter than almost all the other blends today. It's not as high in acid as you might assume an Italian wine might be. But it's kind of light, kind of fruity. The tannins are kind of austere. It has good acidity, but not really because it's high in acid. It has good acidity in this group, mainly because there's not a lot of richness and there's no sugar. It's a dry wine. Lovely little wine. I'd like to have this with lamb chops grilled over hardwood coals or something like that. Real simple stuff. Little garlic, little rosemary perhaps. But it's a nice wine. It needs a little bit of fat, because it's not sweet. It has a little bit of dry tannin, and it needs something to help balance that. The second wine up is the Rhiannon 2011 California red wine, it says right there. And this is Petite Syrah, Barbera, and Zinfandel. So you can see that we're all over the map here, and for better or for worse, that's what these red blends are. It's tough to group, it's tough to get a lot of Petite Syrah, Barbera, and Zinfandel blends together at one time. So you got to taste them with something else. This wine is a much bigger wine than the Brancaia. The Brancaia is modestly Italian. This is decidedly Californian. Smooth and a bit sweet. There's a bit of sugar in here, but there's lots of acidity to balance it out. It's not a particularly complex wine, but it delivers a lot of fruit. There's some nice sour plum and black cherry fruit here. It has good balance, and it really does have enough acidity to leave the palate fresh afterwards. There's not a lot of lingering stickiness here. It's a very nice wine in its style. This would be great with pulled pork sandwiches. Sloppy joes have a bad connotation, but I just read a recipe for a summer squash sloppy joe, and it sounded terrific, and it would be great with this. It's not a super complex wine, so you can get some pretty assertive and complex foods with it, and it would work well. And that little bit of sweetness works well with foods that have a little bit of sweetness. People are going to love this. It's a full-bodied wine, but it's not really that rich, heavy, and weighty. For something that's a little bit richer, heavier, and weightier, you want to move up on the scale. This is Troublemaker. This is a non-vintage wine from Austin Hope family, Austin Hope Winery. The back label says intensely rich, velvety smooth, sneaky good. Or here's a sneaky thing. It's a non-vintage wine. This is B6, lot B6. You really have to look to figure out what the lot number is on these wines. It's a little sneaky there. Now this is not really my style of wine. I like Zinfandel blends. This has got some crazy blend. Forgive me while I try to track down the blend here. I don't remember what it was, and if this was the one with the crazy. Yes, this is 50% Syrah, 20% Grenache, 10% Mourvedre, 10% Zinfandel, 10% Petite Syrah. So not very crazy, but this is a Rhone Ranger kind of blend more than anything else. The style of wine is not necessarily my style of wine. It's a little sweet, but it's chewy and tannic and a little rustic and rich and rough and tumble and fairly complex. There's a little bit of sweetness here that sort of covers some of the complexity for me right now. Really makes the fruit pop, but the fruit is not tutti frutti. It's not candied fruity. It's just sweet, ripe fruit. But there are hints of candied violets and a little pepperiness here. There are some layers of complexity. It's a very attractive wine. It's big. It is smooth, but it's smooth not because it doesn't have tannins. It has a fair amount of tannin. It's just an opulent wine. It's a generous wine. This needs an opulent, generous kind of food thing going on. This would be perfect for big dinosaur bones, big beef ribs, slow cooked, barbecued on a grill smoker. I'm going to get in trouble with the grill barbecuing thing. I don't want to get in trouble with that. But I would very happily take some big beef ribs, cook them slowly on a barbecue, put a sauce on them that's not sweet but a little bit spicy, and they would go absolutely beautifully with this. It has a nice amount of oak as well. It has all the oak spice, a little vanilla, but it's really accent notes here to the bold fruit. It's super well done wine. It's not going to please everybody, of course, but it'll please a lot of people. You can't please everybody. That's the bottom line. That's the whole point here. And then the last one I'm trying is the Ernie Els Big Easy 2011 from South Africa. Shiraz, Cabernet, Senso, more Vedra Grenache, Viognier. This is really a Bordeaux meets Rhone Ranger, Bordeaux meets Chateauneuf kind of wine with a little bit of Côte-Rôtie in there. So this is very interesting because it says 4% Viognier, but you get Viognier, you get apricots and honeysuckles on the nose, along with little leafy and mineral notes and very well framed wood. This is fabulous. This is complex enough. It's round, it's balanced, it has refreshing acidity, it has bright little tannins, it has good depth and intensity, but it's not really heavy on the palate, it's clear on the palate. The fruit starts out maybe with a little black raspberry on the black side and then turns red. Just everything I want in a wine. This is in fact what I'm having tonight for dinner. I'm having this with a ribeye, and it's going to be delicious. It's just a red blend that's not shooting for power. It's shooting for drinkability. It's shooting for vibrancy, and it's shooting for an admirable level of complexity for a wine that's under 20 bucks. All of these are just around or under 20 bucks, down to the maybe $14 to $20 range, give or take. They're all good wines for different times. I'm going to have the Big Easy tonight, but I could have any of these wines at the right moment. And that, of course, is the point of these videos, to try to stress to you guys that even though wines scoring with more points, scoring higher, are available, they're not always the right wine. The right wine is the one that you want to drink tonight. And the right wine is the one that goes with what you're eating or who you're hanging with or the weather or whatever. So try to keep that in mind when you're shopping for wine, and let's try to break the stranglehold that points have on all of us. Besides the Ernie Els, all of these are in the 86 to 88 point range. Typically, that score is the kiss of death for wine, because you can buy a 90 or 92 point wine that's 10 bucks, which is a lot of crap in reality, but it's out there. I mean, you have the points, you have them on cheap wines. Let's just say not everything is what it seems. And on that note, I'm going to go cook my steak. So folks, drink well. I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.